Terence "Bud" Crawford making an early morning appearance, turning himself into police.
All of a sudden, a couple hours later, Terence Crawford is held at gunpoint for a traffic stop.
He told him to step out.
I'm opening the door. You can take mine off the door.
Just shocking. Terence "Bud" Crawford found himself staring down the barrels of police guns only hours after his city paraded him like royalty. Yes, you heard that right. From a champion's parade, flashing lights and cheers in the streets, to flashing police sirens, a tense confrontation, and officers ordering him out of his car at gunpoint. How could one of the most celebrated days of Crawford's career spiral into one of his most humiliating moments?
Seatbelt.
He told him to step out.
I'm opening the door. You can take mine off the right here on my right. I'm keeping my fucking hands up. I'm not reaching for no gun, bro.
Step out.
Can I move my phone?
Be sure to leave a like and subscribe because this is going to be a good one. And I once again have to ask, seriously, as we break down the full truth behind Crawford's arrests, his sentencing history, his lawsuits, and the shocking headlines that seem to follow him wherever he goes. On September 27th, Omaha came alive to celebrate its hometown hero. Just weeks earlier, Crawford had stunned the boxing world by defeating Canelo Alvarez, a victory that cemented his legacy as the first male boxer to capture 3 unified division titles. Their city threw him a parade, fans lined the streets, and even Mayor John Ewing was there to congratulate him. To top it all off, it was also Crawford's 38th birthday, a double reason for the city to party. But as night fell, the story shifted from celebration to chaos. Around 1:30 a.m., Omaha police reported seeing a vehicle driving recklessly near the downtown area where the celebrations had taken place. That vehicle belonged to Crawford. What happened next has since gone viral. Flashing lights, shouts from officers, and Crawford ordered out of his car at gunpoint.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The video captured on social media shows Crawford complying, unbuckling his seatbelt, and being placed in handcuffs. The tension was palpable. A world champion being treated like a dangerous criminal in his own hometown, just hours after thousands cheered his name. Police later confirmed a gun was spotted on the floorboard of the driver's side, and another legal firearm was found with one of Crawford's security guards. Importantly, all weapons were confirmed legal, and Crawford himself was only ticketed for reckless driving. No arrest, no jail, just the ticket. Still, Omaha's police chief Todd Schmader quickly announced an internal investigation, while Mayor Ewing called for full transparency. In a Facebook post, the mayor admitted his heart dropped when he learned of how the celebration ended. He stressed the importance of trust between police and community.
What caused it to occur is myself, my chief of staff, Tom Warren, both reached out to Mr. Crawford, and he indicated that he would like us to do an investigation,
promising answers to the public. And yet, for many fans, the damage was already done. That viral clip added another dramatic chapter to the long, complicated story of Terence Crawford and the law. And here's the kicker. This wasn't even the first time Crawford's name ended up in a police report. Long before the Canelo fight, and long before this parade drama, Terence Crawford already had a serious run-in with the law that nearly derailed his career. Back in 2016, he was convicted in Omaha for disorderly conduct and property damage after a bizarre altercation at a local auto body shop. The story goes like this. Crawford had taken his prize 1984 Chevrolet Monte Carlo in for a custom paint job. he paid half the bill up front. But when he came back dissatisfied with the work and unwilling to pay the remainder, tensions erupted. According to the shop owner, Crawford and several associates physically lowered the car from a hydraulic lift, tied it up with a rope, and hauled it away. The problem? They left the lift switched on, burning out the pump and causing over $3,000 in damages. A jury didn't buy Crawford's defense. He was found guilty, and Judge Marcina Hendricks made headlines with her scathing remarks. "You acted as if you were above the law, and you are not." Crawford was sentenced to 90 days in jail and 2 years of probation. For a star athlete with millions of dollars at stake, it was a devastating ruling. His attorney blasted the decision as excessive, arguing Crawford had no serious criminal record and the punishment didn't fit the charges. Crawford immediately appealed, posting a $10,000 bond. The following year, a higher court agreed, overturning the jail sentence, but keeping the probation intact. It was a lifeline that allowed Crawford to continue fighting at the highest level. Still, the memory of that courtroom humiliation has followed him ever since. Resurfacing every time his name appears in another police headline. And sure enough, it wasn't the last time Crawford found himself on the wrong side of flashing lights in his hometown. In March 2017, while his appeal from the auto shop case was still pending, Crawford's name popped up again, this time linked to a dispute outside a clothing store called City Trends. Reports claim 2 women had arrived at the store looking for a fight with an employee. Hours later, the tension spilled into the parking lot, where multiple cars pulled up and things got messy. One of those cars, driven by Terence Crawford. Police quickly stopped the vehicle, and inside they discovered a legally registered firearm belonging to Crawford. He was briefly taken into custody and questioned, but released without charges shortly afterward. His lawyer explained that Crawford's personal belongings, including the firearm, were returned within days. And because his earlier case was still on appeal, he wasn't technically under probation at the time. No formal charges, no conviction. But once again, Crawford's name was in the headlines.
He had a big parade because they were welcoming home their champion. And a couple hours later, Crawford was stopped, traffic stop, at gunpoint by some cops. Gunpoint, because they said it was some reckless driving or some shit like that. He just did a parade in Omaha, Nebraska. And don't tell me that Omaha, Nebraska is big. You know this parade was going on, especially a parade. Police know when there's a parade because they usually are the ones that organize it, block off street.
Linked to another street-level incident that left fans and critics asking the same uncomfortable question. Is Terence Crawford simply a victim of being a high-profile figure in a small city? Or does trouble just keep finding him? If courtroom drama wasn't enough, Crawford also waged a very public battle outside the ring, this time against his own promoter. In January 2022, Crawford filed a $5.4 million lawsuit against Bob Arum and Top Rank, the promotional powerhouse he'd signed with back in 2011. The allegations were explosive. Crawford accused Arum, then 90 years old, of racism, breach of contract, and deliberately sabotaging his career.
No, because Terence Crawford is a great talent. We always said that he was a great talent. He's proved through his career that he's a great talent. The question is, can you match up his economic demands with his actual marketability?
According to the lawsuit, Arum failed to deliver on promises of big-name fights, most notably against Errol Spence Jr. and actively damaged Crawford's reputation in the boxing world. His legal team painted a picture of a promoter who favored white and Latino fighters, while sidelining black athletes.
What you talking about? I knew he was gonna be here. And you knew I was gonna pull up? That's why I came. Did you know I was gonna pull up? Oh God, I knew he was gonna be here. Where is he at? AC, where you at? Did you know I got a text message from 3 o'clock? And you got a FaceTime for me and you didn't answer. I don't know your number. But now you know. Save it.
Arum didn't hold back either. He blasted the lawsuit as reckless and frivolous, claiming he had spent his career championing fighters of every background. In his words, Crawford's accusations were nothing more than a malicious extortion attempt. What made the case even more intriguing was the financial backdrop. Crawford argued that Top Rank cost him millions in lost opportunities. He cited fight contracts where side agreements weren't honored, like a $900,000 bonus tied to the promised Spence matchup that never materialized.
And we were not able to do that. Terence did well in the, was extraordinarily good fighting Spence. They did very well economically. But again, if you ran it back and you had Terence fighting Spence again, I really don't believe that it would do anything like the numbers.
For fans, the lawsuit wasn't just about money. It was about loyalty, race, and power in a sport where fighters often feel trapped by the business of boxing. The fact that Crawford, one of the most dominant fighters of his generation, felt betrayed by his own promoter only fueled the narrative. Not only was he battling opponents in the ring, he was battling promoters, lawyers, and reputations outside of it. And while lawyers traded blows in the courtroom, Crawford's real fight was still waiting for him under the bright lights of the boxing ring. Fast forward to the summer of 2025. Crawford steps into the ring with Canelo Alvarez, one of the sport's biggest stars and most decorated champions. What followed wasn't just a fight, it was a seismic shift in boxing history. In a stunning performance, Crawford outclassed Canelo, claiming a unanimous decision victory that etched his name into the record books as the first male boxer to unify titles in 3 separate divisions.
Omaha, Nebraska, USA, and new Ring Magazine, an undisputed super middleweight champion of the world.
The achievement was monumental. Fans and analysts alike hailed it as a passing of the torch moment, with Crawford cementing his claim as the greatest of his era. Meanwhile, his camp was already talking about what comes next.
If you want to do it, it'd be a challenge. If you want to challenge yourself, yeah, I don't mind.
They make them 5 weight divisions. There's not many people there.
That'd be great.
Oscar and Manny.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Trainer Brian Bo-Mac McIntyre hinted that Crawford might only have 2 or 3 more fights left before walking away from the sport. There was even talk of moving up to 160 pounds, a division where no champion seems close to his skill level. Was it ambition or a signal that retirement was drawing near? And if you thought the lawsuit and the police stop were the only clouds hanging over Crawford's historic victory, think again. Every time a fighter reaches the pinnacle, comparisons begin. And for Crawford, that comparison is always with one name: Floyd Mayweather. In interviews, Crawford himself has been respectful yet confident. He's called Mayweather one of the GOATs, insisting that Floyd was the greatest of his era, while declaring himself the greatest of his own.
That's the GOAT. He one of the GOATs, man. Like, I have nothing but the utmost respect for Mayweather. I would never compare myself to Mayweather. Like I said in the post interview, he the greatest in his era, I'm the greatest in my era. I don't understand why, especially our people, hate on Mayweather so much. And
It was a diplomatic answer, acknowledging Mayweather's dominance without downplaying his own achievements. But the boxing world didn't let it rest there. Critics and fellow fighters chimed in.
Floyd Mayweather toyed with Canelo. Like, he literally toyed with him. He didn't get hit at all. Not one time. And Crawford, yeah, he's more of a fighter, boxer. Mayweather's more of a boxer. But I have to disagree. I think Mayweather is much more superior than Crawford.
Oscar De La Hoya flatly disagreed with Crawford's positioning, reminding fans that Mayweather toyed with Canelo years earlier, barely getting touched in the entire fight. Others argued that Crawford and Mayweather belong to the same generation, given their careers overlapped by nearly a decade. For fans, the debate has become a lightning rod. On one side are those who believe Crawford's resume, now bolstered by a victory over Canelo, places him in rarefied air. On the other, purists argue Mayweather's unbeaten record and dominance in pay-per-view history can never be matched. The question looms large. Will Crawford be remembered as an all-time great on par with Mayweather? Or will his legacy be clouded by lawsuits, arrests, and controversies outside the ring? So where does this leave Terence Crawford? As of now, he hasn't been jailed. He hasn't been sentenced in 2025. What he has, however, is a history tied to police reports, courtroom drama, and lawsuits that keep his name in the headlines just as much as his fights do. At the same time, his achievements in the ring are unmatched, undefeated, multiple unified titles, a decisive victory over Canelo. To some, he's the greatest of his generation. To others, he's a champion whose brilliance has always been interrupted by drama. Retirement now looms on the horizon. His trainer talks about just a few fights left. Canelo himself hasn't ruled out a rematch. Fans still debate his place alongside Mayweather. And yet, every time Crawford's name trends, it's never just about boxing. It's about the drama that surrounds him. So when you hear "Goodbye Forever" attached to Terence Crawford's name, don't think of a jail cell or a courtroom. Think of the day he finally walks away from the ring. Gloves hung up, record intact, legacy debated. But one thing's certain, Terence "Bud" Crawford will never be forgotten. Let us know your thoughts in comments below.
It's been a journey, you know? It's been a journey. I remember like it was yesterday, I wanted to quit boxing.
All right, guys, for the best updates on boxing news, moments, events, and actions, subscribe to Knockout Updates and turn on notifications to never miss out on quality content. And check out our other videos. Until next time, peace out.